I walked into my parents' garage and heard my dad bark at my daughter. Wash the tires again. Guests don't eat with the help. My brother's kids were on the porch eating burgers and laughing. I said nothing, took my girl's hand, and left. The next morning, Dad opened the garage door and froze when he saw who was waiting. The sponge was in my daughter's hand when I walked through the side door of the garage. A yellow car wash sponge, soaked dripping soap water onto the epoxy floor I poured 3 years ago when I built this garage for my parents as a gift. My daughter Coda was on her knees next to the rear passenger tire of my father's Buick Enclave, scrubbing the wheel well with the sponge. Her shorts wet at the knees from the floor, her hair tied back with a rubber band, and the posture of a 10-year-old who has been working for long enough that the working has become the only thing she is doing, because the only thing she was told to do is wash. My father's voice came from the doorway that connects the garage to the kitchen. Lev was leaning against the frame with a glass of sweet tea in his hand, watching his granddaughter wash his tires the way a man watches a task being performed by someone he considers beneath the watching. Wash the tires again, Coda. You missed the rear wheel wells. And do not come out to the porch. Guests do not eat with the help. Your cousins are guests. You are the help. Your father builds things for other people. That makes you the builder's daughter. And the builder's daughter washes the builder's work. The sentence was delivered in a garage I built. The garage whose concrete foundation I poured on a Saturday in March 3 years ago. The garage whose framing I erected over 2 weekends in April. The garage whose electrical I wired, whose drywall I hung, whose epoxy floor I mixed and applied, whose overhead door I installed, whose trim I painted. The garage that cost $38,000 in labor and materials, zero of which was billed to my parents because the building was a gift from a son to his parents. The gift that took 6 weekends and the specific skill set of a licensed general contractor who builds structures for a living and who built this structure for free and whose daughter is now on her knees in it washing tires while being called the help. Through the kitchen doorway past Lev's shoulder, I could see the porch. The porch where the bubbock was happening. The porch where my brother Hux's 3 kids were sitting at the table eating burgers and corn on the cob and watermelon and laughing. 3 children on the porch eating. 1 child in the garage washing. The 3 on the porch are guests. The 1 in the garage is the help. The classification was Lev's. The enforcement was Lev's. And the garage was mine. Greer was on the porch. My mother. 60 years old. She was refilling Hux's kids' lemonade glasses. She had not checked the garage. She had not walked 20 feet from the porch to the garage to see her granddaughter on her knees with a sponge. The not walking was the knowing. Greer knew Coda was in the garage because Lev told Coda to go to the garage, and the telling was in the kitchen, and Greer was in the kitchen when the telling happened, and the not checking was the permission, and the permission was the complicity. Hux was at the grill flipping burgers. My brother, 34 years old. His 3 kids were on the porch. His 3 kids had plates. His 3 kids had food. His 3 kids had chairs. My 1 kid had a sponge and a bucket and a garage floor and the instruction, do not come out to the porch. Coda looked up at me. The looking up of a 10-year-old who has been on her knees for approximately 20 minutes, based on the amount of water on the floor and the number of tires that had been washed, and whose looking up is not relief but the expression of a child who has been told she is the help by her grandfather, and whose expression says, I was doing what I was told. Because the doing what she was told is what 10-year-olds do when a grandfather gives an instruction, and the instruction sounds like authority, and the authority sounds like the truth and the truth to a 10-year-old. Maybe I am the help. I did not speak to Lev. I did not argue. I did not raise my voice. I did not say she is not the help or you do not get to do this or any of the sentences that a father has in his throat when he sees his daughter on her knees in a garage he built being called the help by the man the garage was built for. I knelt down. I took the sponge from Coda's hand. I set it on the floor. I took her hand. I stood her up. I walked her through the side door of the garage, through the driveway, to my truck. I buckled her in, I got in the driver's seat. I drove home. The driving was 14 minutes of silence that was not empty, but was full. Full of the sentences I did not say in the garage, and the plan I was building in the silence, and the plan was not loud. The plan was a contractor's plan. The plan had documents. Coda spoke at minute 11. Grandpa said I could not eat with the cousins. You can eat whatever you want. We are going home. Am I in trouble? You are not in trouble. You were never in trouble. Then why was I in the garage? The question landed in the truck cab the way a question lands when a 10-year-old asks it, and the question does not have a good answer. Because the answer is, your grandfather put you in the garage because your grandfather considers you the help, and the considering is based on your father's career. And the career is contracting, and the contracting is blue collar, and the blue collar is the reason you were on your knees with a sponge while your cousins ate burgers. The answer is not a good answer. The answer is the truth. And the truth is not something a 10-year-old should have to hear in a truck cab on a Sunday afternoon. You were in the garage because Grandpa made a mistake. And the mistake is Grandpa's, not yours. His car was already clean. What? The Buick was already clean. I watched him wash it yesterday morning through the kitchen window when we arrived. He washed it himself. Saturday morning. Then he told me to wash it again today. The sentence rewired the afternoon. The Buick was already clean. Lev had washed it himself the day before. The Sunday wash was not a wash. The Sunday wash was a task. A task assigned to a 10-year-old, not because the car needed washing, but because the 10-year-old needed positioning. The positioning was, you are in the garage. You are not on the porch. You are the help. The car was the prop. The sponge was the prop. And the 20 minutes on her knees were not about tires. The 20 minutes were about status. The status was, your father builds things for other people, and the other people are above you, and the above is the porch, and the below is the garage floor, and the garage floor is where you stay. The car was already clean. The washing was the humiliation performed as a chore. Welcome to Family Secret Tales, where the general contractor who built his parents' garage as a gift just watched his daughter wash already clean tires in it while being called to help, and the builder is about to remind the family who built the building they used to humiliate his child. If your family has ever treated your kid as the servant at a gathering you funded, subscribe now. Because the garage door opens at 7 a.m. and the man inside is not a guest. He is the builder. And the builder has a folder. My name is Cor Basque. I am 38 years old. I am a licensed general contractor at Triangle Built Construction in Raleigh, North Carolina. I build residential additions, renovations, decks, garages, and custom structures for clients across Wake County. My salary is $74,000 a year. I hold a North Carolina general contractor license, number 74112. I have been building for 16 years. I frame walls, pour foundations, wire electrical panels, hang drywall, install plumbing, and finish trim. My family calls what I do working with your hands, which is the phrase people use when they want to distinguish between a career and a trade. And the distinguishing is the dismissal. My foreman, Drea, is 50. She has been in construction for 24 years. She is the person I called from my truck at 5:45 p.m., parked in my driveway with Coda inside, eating a grilled cheese, because the bubbock did not feed her. Your father made her wash tires? On her knees. In the garage I built. With a sponge. While Hux's kids ate burgers on the porch. And the car was already clean. He washed it himself the day before. Coda told me in the truck, the wash was not about the car. The wash was about putting her in the garage. 3 seconds of silence from Drea. Then, you built that garage core, the foundation, the framing, the electrical, the floor she was kneeling on. You built it for free. Your daughter was on her knees in it, with a sponge washing a car that was already clean, while 3 kids ate on a porch 10 feet away. File the lien. Let the garage remind him who built it. Drea is right. The lien is the reminder, and the reminder is the garage, and the garage is mine. The favoritism in this family is measured in porches. Hux's family has always been on the porch. Hux's kids eat first at Thanksgiving. Hux's kids sit at the main table at Christmas. Hux's kids get birthday parties at the parents' house with decorations and a cake Greer bakes from scratch. Coda gets a card. The card arrives by mail because the party is not extended to Coda. And the not extending is the pattern. And the pattern has been consistent for 10 years. Hux is 34. He works in pharmaceutical sales. He earns $88,000 a year. He drives a Chevy Tahoe that he parks in the garage I built. For free. $0 per month. The same garage where I parked my work trailer for $200 per month. The same garage where my daughter was on her knees with a sponge. Hux parks for free. I pay $200. The arithmetic of favoritism. The son who did not build the garage parks free. The son who built the garage pays rent. When Hux's oldest made the travel soccer team, Lev drove 2 hours to the tournament. When Coda placed second in her school art show for a watercolor of the Eno River, Lev said that is nice and changed the subject to Hux's son's soccer schedule. The "that is nice" is the family's code for your achievement has been acknowledged in the minimum number of words and will now be replaced by a Hux achievement. When I built the garage, I expected a thank you. I received a storage fee. 3 months after the garage was completed, Lev informed me that parking my work trailer in the third bay would cost $200 per month to cover the extra insurance and wear on the floor. The floor I poured. The insurance I pay. The wear that does not exist because an enclosed trailer on rubber tires does not wear an epoxy floor. The $200 was not a fee. The $200 was a tax. The tax that the builder pays to use his own building. 3 years. $7,200. Hux has never been charged $1. Coda is 10. She is quiet. She draws. She watches more than she speaks. She notices things that loud children do not notice. The pattern on a leaf. The angle of a shadow. The way a door frame meets a wall at a line that is either plumb or not plumb. She noticed that the garage walls are plumb. She told me once, "Dad, the walls in Grandpa's garage are really straight." The walls are straight because her father is a contractor, and the contractor's walls are plumb, and the plumb is the skill, and the skill was the gift, and the gift was free, and the gift was the building where the contractor's daughter was called to help. My ex-wife lives in Greensboro. She calls Coda every Wednesday. She sends $510 on the first. The $510 and the Wednesdays are hers. The rest is mine. Every art supply. Every school field trip. Every meal that a 10-year-old eats, including the grilled cheese I made her when we got home from the Bebic, because the Bebic did not feed her, because the Bebic classified her as the help, and the help does not eat on the porch. What my family does not know is what I build for them. The garage. I built it 3 years ago as a gift for my parents' 40th anniversary. Greer had been asking for a 3-car garage for 5 years because the Honda did not fit in the original 2-car, and the not fitting meant scraping ice off the windshield every winter morning. I designed the addition myself, a 24 by 30 6-foot 3-car garage with an insulated ceiling, LED lighting, and a 16-foot Clopay insulated overhead door with a belt drive opener. The project started on a Saturday in March when I dug the footer trenches with a rented mini excavator. The footers were 24 inches deep, 12 inches wide, reinforced with number 4 rebar and filled with 3,500 psi concrete. The slab was poured the following Saturday, 4 inches thick, wire mesh reinforcement, finished with a power trowel, and coated with a 2-part epoxy that I mixed and rolled myself. The epoxy took 3 days to cure. The epoxy cost $2,200 in materials. The epoxy is the floor my daughter was kneeling on with a sponge while being called to help. The framing took 2 weekends. 2 by 6 walls, 16-inch centers, hurricane ties at every rafter connection. The roof was architectural shingles to match the house. I ran a 200-amp sub-panel with 6 dedicated circuits. The drywall was half-inch fire rated on the shared wall. The overhead door opener was belt drive, because a chain drive is loud and a belt drive is quiet, and the quiet was the gift. The trim was primed and painted to match the exterior. Every surface in that garage was measured, cut, installed, and finished by my hands. Total cost, $38,000 in labor and materials. Labor valued at $22,000 based on my standard rate of $65 per hour for 340 hours of work across 6 weekends. Materials, $16,000. I presented Lev and Greer with the completed garage on their anniversary weekend. I did not present an invoice. The invoice was zero. The zero was the gift. And the gift was the building where, 3 years later, my daughter was called to help. Parents' mortgage cosign. I co-signed 4 years ago when Lev refinanced after retirement. $1,600 a month. Lev's pension and Social Security totaled $2,650, but his credit score after 2 missed payments during the lapsed insurance period was 580, below the 640 threshold the lender required. The gap was not income. The gap was credit. And the credit was my cosign. 4 years. My signature holding a mortgage on a house whose garage I built for free. Parents' property insurance, $280 a month on my umbrella policy for 3 years. $10,080. Because Lev's individual rate after a lapsed coverage period was $430, and the $430 was reduced to $280 on my policy. Parents' internet, cable and streaming, $175 a month for 3 years. $6,300. Internet $100, cable $45, streaming bundle $30. All on my card. Hux's phone, on my family plan. $85 a month for 2 years. $2,040. Because Hux's credit does not qualify for a postpaid plan, and the not qualifying became my line item. Storage fee, $200 a month for 3 years. $7,200. Lev charges me $200 per month to park my work trailer in the garage I built. The work trailer that carries my tools and materials to job sites. Lev charges the son who built the garage $200 per month to store equipment in it. Hux parks his Tahoe in the same garage for free. The son who built the garage pays. The son who did not build the garage parks for free. The paying is the tax. And the tax has been $7,200 over 3 years. Total invisible support, $10,080 insurance, plus $6,300 internet, plus $2,040 phone, plus $7. $200 storage fees, plus $38,000 garage. Total, $63,620. From the man who builds things for other people. The $7,200 in storage fees is the irony that makes the lien possible. A mechanic's lien in North Carolina must typically be filed within 120 days of the last furnishing of labor or materials. The garage was completed 3 years ago, which places the construction outside the standard window. But the $200 monthly storage fee constitutes an ongoing contractual relationship between the contractor and the property. The last payment was made 14 days ago. The relationship is current. The lien is valid. Lev charged me $200 a month to park in my own building, and the charging created the legal standing for the lien. The greed that charged the builder rent is the greed that gave the builder the encumbrance. The $200 a month that was supposed to be a tax on the builder became the weapon the builder uses to encumber the title. The irony is the arithmetic. And the arithmetic is perfect. Hux has never paid a storage fee. Hux has never been charged for parking. Hux's Tahoe sits in Bay 2 of the garage at zero cost. The Tahoe that carries Hux to a pharmaceutical sales job where Hux earns $88,000, which is $14,000 more than the contractor who built the garage and pays $200 a month to park in it. The man who earns more pays nothing. The man who earns less and built the building pays $200. The arithmetic of favoritism does not require a calculator. The arithmetic requires a lien. That evening, 7 p.m., Coda was in her room drawing. She draws horses. She draws houses. She draws the things she sees and the things she imagines, and the drawing is the processing that 10-year-olds do when the thing that happened is too large to speak about. She was drawing a house. The house had a porch. On the porch, all the children had plates. Nobody was in the garage. The drawing was the correction of the day. I made the calls from my kitchen table with my contractor's laptop open and the documents bookmarked. A contractor documents everything: invoices, permits, inspection reports, lien filings. The documenting is the profession, and the profession was about to be applied to the family. Lev had not called. Greer had not called. Hux had not called. The family's response to the silent exit was silence. The silence of a family that expects the builder to absorb the insult and return the following week, and the returning has been the pattern for 10 years, and the pattern ends tonight. Call 1. 7:15 p.m. The mortgage servicer. I identified myself as the co-signer on mortgage account ending 8477. I requested co-signer removal. The representative explained the 30-day requalification requirement. Lev's combined income from pension and Social Security was $2,650 per month. The mortgage was $1,400. The debt-to-income ratio with only Lev's income would exceed the threshold. The loan would enter default review. I almost did not make the call. The mortgage is the house. The house is where my parents live. The house is the house I grew up in. The house is where Coda was born, in the guest room during a snowstorm when the hospital was 40 minutes away and the baby was 5 minutes away, and the baby arrived on a bed I slept in as a child. But the floor stopped me. The epoxy floor. The $2,200 floor I mixed and rolled and cured. The floor my daughter was kneeling on yesterday with a sponge and wet shorts and the instruction, wash the tires again. The floor decided. The call was made. Call 2. 7:30 p.m. The insurance company. I removed the parents' property from my umbrella policy. Their rate would return to $430 per month, $150 more than the $280 they had been paying on my policy. The $150 monthly increase was the cost of a lapsed coverage period and a 10-year-old on her knees in a garage. I almost left the insurance active. Property insurance is essential. Without it, the mortgage company would force place a policy at twice the rate. But the tire stopped me. The rear passenger tire of the Buick Enclave. The tire Coda was washing when I walked in. The tire that Lev said she missed the rear wheel wells on. The tire is on a car that is insured by the daughter whose daughter washed it. The insurance was the daughter's. The daughter is the help. And the help just stopped insuring. Call 3. 7:45 p.m. The internet provider. I canceled the account. $175 per month. Internet, cable, streaming. The screens would go dark by Sunday evening. I almost left the internet running. Lev watches the evening news every night. Greer watches cooking shows on Saturday mornings. The internet is their evening companion. The companion of 2 retired people in a house whose companionship is the screen. But the porch stopped me. The porch where Hux's 3 kids ate burgers and watermelon and laughed while Coda washed tires 10 feet away. The porch was visible from the garage. Coda could see the porch through the doorway. She could see the plates and the food and the laughing. And the seeing while washing was the teaching. And the teaching was, you were separate. And the separating was funded by the woman whose internet kept the screens on. The screens are done. Call 4. 8 p.m. The phone carrier. I removed Hux's line. $85 a month. Done. I almost kept the phone active. Hux uses it for his pharmaceutical sales clients. But the grill stopped me. The grill where Hux was flipping burgers for his 3 kids, while my 1 kid washed tires in a garage. Hux did not bring Coda a plate. Hux did not walk 10 feet from the grill to the garage and say, Coda, come eat. Hux did not check. The not checking was the agreement with Lev's classification, guests on the porch, help in the garage. Hux's agreement was passive. Hux's phone bill was active. The bill is now as passive as the agreement. Call 5. 8:30 p.m. The contractor's lien. I pulled up the Wake County lien filing portal on my laptop. A mechanic's lien in North Carolina must be filed within 120 days of the last furnishing of labor or materials. My garage was completed 3 years ago, which places it outside the standard filing window. But the storage fee changes the calculation. The $200 per month I have been paying constitutes an ongoing contractual relationship with the property. The last payment was made 14 days ago. The relationship is current. The lien is valid. I filed for $38,000 in unpaid labor and materials for the garage addition at 1847 Millbrook Road. The lien attached to the property title. The garage I built for free now has a price on paper, and the paper is on the title. And the title is encumbered. And the encumbrance is the builder's. Welcome back to Family Secret Tales. If you are the contractor who built a garage for free and whose daughter was told to wash tires in it while being called to help, hit subscribe. Because the lien is filed and the mortgage cosign is removed and the insurance is canceled and it is midnight and the garage door opens in 7 hours. I drove to the parents' house at 6:45 a.m. Monday morning. I used my key to enter through the side door of the garage, the same door Coda walked through with a sponge the day before. The key that I have because I built the garage and installed the locks and kept a key because the keeping was the access, and the access was the right of the man who built the building. The garage was dark. The 2 cars were parked inside. The Buick Enclave with the tires Coda washed. The Honda Accord that Greer drives. The workbench along the back wall. The overhead lights that I wired to a switch by the kitchen door, the epoxy floor that I mixed and rolled, the walls that I framed and drywalled, the ceiling that I insulated and finished. Every surface in the garage was a surface I built, and every surface was the evidence. And the evidence was the building itself. I set up a folding chair in the center of the garage. I sat down. I placed the manila folder on my knee. The folder contained the lien filing confirmation, the cosigner removal confirmation, the insurance cancellation receipt, the internet cancellation receipt, the phone removal receipt, and 3 years of $200 per month storage fee receipts totaling $7. $200. The folder was the full accounting. The accounting was the consequence. And the consequence was sitting in a folding chair on an epoxy floor in a garage that cost $38,000 and was built at zero and is now liened at full value. I waited. 7:02 a.m. The kitchen door opened. Lev walked into the garage in his robe and slippers. He was reaching for the wall switch to turn on the overhead lights, the lights I wired to a dedicated circuit 3 years ago. The lights came on. Lev saw me. He froze. The freezing lasted 3 seconds. 3 seconds of a 64-year-old man in a robe processing the image of his son sitting in a folding chair in the center of a garage at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning with a manila folder on his knee in the specific posture of a man who is not visiting but delivering. What are you doing in my garage? Your garage. The garage I built. The foundation I poured. The walls I framed. The floor I finished. The door I installed. The lights you just turned on with a switch I wired. Your garage. That is interesting, Dad, because yesterday, your garage had my daughter on her knees washing your tires with a sponge while your other grandchildren ate burgers on a porch 10 feet away. And you told her she is the help. She offered to help. She did not offer. You instructed her. I was at the side door. I heard the instruction. Wash the tires again, Coda. You missed the rear wheel wells. And do not come out to the porch. Guests do not eat with the help. Those are your words, Dad, not a request. An instruction. Delivered to a 10-year-old who was on her knees on a floor I poured. The car needed washing. The car did not need washing. Coda told me on the drive home. She watched you wash the Buick yourself Saturday morning through the kitchen window, the day before the Bebic. You washed it yourself, Dad. The car was already clean. You told a 10-year-old to wash an already clean car so she would be in the garage instead of on the porch. The wash was not about tires. The wash was about position. The position was below the porch, below the cousins, below the table. The car was the prop. The sponge was the prop. And the 20 minutes on her knees were the performance of a status you assigned, because her father is a contractor, and the contractor is, in your words, the help. Lev's jaw tightened, the tightening of a man whose excuse has just been dismantled by a Saturday morning car wash that his granddaughter observed through a kitchen window. The car was clean, the washing was the humiliation performed as a chore, and the granddaughter remembered. You are twisting what I said. I am quoting what you said. Your father builds things for other people. That makes you the builder's daughter. And the builder's daughter washes the builder's work. That is a transcript, Dad, delivered to a 10-year-old in a garage her father built for free. And the car she was washing was already clean. I opened the folder. This is a mechanic's lien filed yesterday evening with Wake County. $38,000 for labor and materials on the garage addition at 1847 Millbrook Road. The lien is attached to your property title. You cannot sell, refinance, or transfer this property until the lien is satisfied. The garage you called yours now has my name on the title as an encumbrance. The builder's name is on the builder's work. Lev's face changed. The change was the blood leaving the cheeks and settling somewhere lower. The somewhere that is not visible, but is felt. The feeling of a man whose property title has just been encumbered by the son he called the help. You are not serious. You built it as a gift. The gift was 3 years ago. The gift was before you charged me $200 a month to park my trailer in a building I built. 3 years, $7,200 in storage fees for a trailer parked on a floor I poured. And here's the part that matters, Dad. Hux parks his Tahoe in this same garage. For free, $0 per month. The son who did not build the garage parks free. The son who built it pays $200 a month. 3 years, 36 payments. I pulled the storage fee receipts from the folder. 36 monthly Venmo transfer screenshots. Each one labeled garage storage. Each one $200. 36 pages. $7,200. $7,200 I paid to park in my own building, while Hux parks for free, while Hux's kids eat on the porch, while my daughter washes tires on a floor I poured. The gift ended yesterday when I heard you say guests do not eat with the help to my daughter in a building the help's father built. Lev looked at the Venmo receipts. The looking of a man who did not expect the receipts to be printed because the receipts were digital, and the digital is invisible, and the invisible is the assumption that the paying son does not keep records. The paying son is a contractor. The contractor keeps records of everything. How much do I fund, Dad? Let me give you the full number, since the family thinks the builder works for free. I stood from the chair. $280 a month for your property insurance. 3 years. $10,080. $175 a month for your internet, cable, and streaming. 3 years. $6,300. $85 a month for Hux's phone. 2 years. $2,040. $200 a month in storage fees you charged me for parking my trailer in my own garage. 3 years. $7,200 that went from me to you for a building I built for you. The mortgage cosign that holds $1,600 a month. And the garage itself, $38,000 in labor and materials, gifted at zero, now liened at full value. I held up the folder so Lev could see every page. Total from the man who builds things for other people, $63,620. The insurance is canceled. Your rate returns to $430. The internet is dark as of last night. Hux's phone is dead. The cosigner removal is in the system. The lien is filed. And the storage fee, Dad, the $200 a month you charged me to park in a building I built with my hands. That fee produced the receipts that make the lien valid, because the ongoing payments constitute a current contractual relationship with the property. You charge me rent in my own garage, and the rent is the reason the lien is enforceable. The thing you used to take my money is the thing that gives me the legal standing to encumber your title. Lev reached for the doorframe. The reaching was the first physical concession. His left hand gripped the frame the way a man grips a frame when the legs are uncertain. And the uncertainty is the numbers. And the numbers are 63,620. And the numbers include a lien that his own storage fee made possible. I will pay you for the garage. $15,000. Right now. I will write a check this morning. The garage is appraised at $38,000 in labor and materials. You are offering $15,000. The gap is $23,000 and a 10-year-old who was on her knees with a sponge while 3 other children ate burgers 10 feet away. The lien is for the full amount. The gap is not negotiable. Greer appeared in the kitchen doorway. Coffee mug. The expression of a woman whose Sunday morning now includes a lien, a canceled insurance policy, a dark internet, and a son in a folding chair. This is about Coda washing a car? She was helping, Cor. She was not helping, Mom. She was instructed. She was on her knees for 20 minutes with a sponge and a bucket. She was told she could not eat on the porch. She was told guests do not eat with the help. And the guests were Hux's 3 kids who had plates and chairs and food, while my daughter had a sponge and a tire, and the instruction to stay in the garage. You were on the porch, Mom. You were refilling Hux's kids' lemonade. You did not walk 20 feet to the garage to check on Coda. You did not bring her a plate. You did not bring her a glass of water. The not walking and the not bringing is the complicity. And the complicity is funded by the woman whose daughter was in the garage. It was one afternoon, Cor. It was one afternoon in a pattern of afternoons. Back row at Christmas. Kids' table at Thanksgiving. Mailed card instead of birthday party. And yesterday, garage floor with a sponge. The pattern is documented, Mom, and the pattern ended when I walked Coda out of the building I built and drove her home and made her a grilled cheese because the bubbock did not feed her. I looked at both of them. I built this garage. My daughter washed tires in it. The lien is filed. The builder's daughter does not wash. The builder's father does. The killing line landed in the garage at 7:18 a.m. The landing was the weight of a sentence delivered by a man standing in a building he constructed with his own hands, on a floor he poured, under lights he wired, between walls he framed. The sentence contained a lien and a daughter, and the word wash turned from the girl to the grandfather. The turning was the reversal. The reversal was the point. I picked up the folding chair. I walked to the side door. The same door Coda walked through with a sponge. I left the folder on the workbench. The next time you open this garage door, remember who built it. And the next time you think about calling a 10-year-old the help, remember that the help built everything you are standing in. And the help just filed a lien on it. The fallout arrived the way a foundation sets, slowly, permanently, and with the weight that holds everything above it in place, or does not. The mortgage entered requalification review on Wednesday. Lev's combined income was $2,650 per month. The mortgage was $1,600. Without the cosigner, the debt-to-income ratio exceeded the lender's threshold. The 30-day notice arrived by mail, the first mortgage document Lev had read in 4 years, because the reading had been the builder's job, and the job was now Lev's. The property insurance returned to $430 per month on Thursday. The $150 monthly increase hit the first bill. Lev opened his own internet account the following week at $142, plus streaming at $47. The combined monthly overhead consumed 93% of Lev's income. The remaining 7% was groceries, gas, and copays. The 7% was the margin. And the margin was the builder's gift removed. The internet went dark Sunday evening. Lev's evening news vanished. Greer's cooking shows stopped loading. The $175 per month that kept the screens on was the builder's money. The builder was the help, and the help just stopped helping. Hux's phone died Monday morning. His pharmaceutical sales manager called a dead number. Hux purchased a prepaid plan at $40 per month. The prepaid phone did not have his client database. 3 days rebuilding contacts from email records. 3 days of a salesman without a phone book. Hux called me Tuesday evening. You filed a lien on Dad's house? I filed a lien on the garage I built. The garage is attached to the house. The lien is attached to the title. Over a car wash? Over a grandfather telling my 10-year-old she is the help. Over 3 kids eating on a porch while 1 kid washes tires in a garage her father built. Over the word guests applied to your children and the word help applied to mine. Over 20 minutes on her knees with a sponge on a floor I poured. Over $7,200 in storage fees I paid to park in a building I constructed. Over $63,620 in total support from the man who builds things for other people. The car wash is the last event in a pattern. The lien is the response to the pattern. Dad did not mean it like that. He said guests do not eat with the help. Your father builds things for other people. That makes you the builder's daughter. And the builder's daughter washes the builder's work. He said it to a 10-year-old on her knees. In a building that cost $38,000 and was built at zero. The meaning is in the words. And the words are on a lien. Hux did not respond. The lien attached to the property title on Thursday. The title at the Wake County Register of Deeds now showed an encumbrance of $38,000 in favor of Core Basque, licensed general contractor, license number 74112. The property could not be sold, refinanced, or used as collateral. Lev's plan for a home equity line, discussed at Thanksgiving, was now impossible. The equity was encumbered by the garage, and the garage was the builder's. Lev sat in the garage every evening that week, on the workbench, reading the lien filing, reading the Venmo receipts, reading the folder the builder left behind. The sitting was the processing of a man whose property title has a $38,000 encumbrance filed by the son whose daughter he called the help in the building the son built. The processing takes longer than one evening because the processing includes the arithmetic, and the arithmetic is $63,620, and the arithmetic does not simplify, and the simplifying was the builder's job, and the builder is gone. The workbench where Lev sits is a workbench the builder built. The stool Lev sits on is a stool the builder brought from the shop. The light above the workbench is wired to circuit 5, which the builder installed. Every surface Lev touches in the garage while reading the lien is a surface the builder created. And the surfaces are the evidence, and the evidence surrounds the man who called the builder's daughter the help. Greer called me Friday afternoon. Your father has not come inside until dark all week. He sits in the garage. He sits in the garage he did not build, reading the receipts for the storage fees he charged the son who built it. The sitting is his. The garage is mine. Let him read. He wants to talk. He had his chance to talk on the porch where the guests ate. He chose to talk in the garage where the help washed. He chose to talk to a 10-year-old about wheel wells instead of talking to the adults about the burgers his granddaughter was not eating. The location of his talking was his choice. The consequence of his talking is mine, and the consequence is a lien and a cancellation and a cosigner removal and a folder on a workbench in a garage he did not build. Coda drew a picture on Wednesday evening at the kitchen table while I made dinner. Colored pencils on construction paper. The picture was a house. The house had a porch. On the porch were 5 stick figures, all the same height, all sitting at a table, all with plates. 1 taller, 1 smaller, 3 medium. All 5 had food. All 5 were on the porch. Nobody was in the garage. The garage had a car in it. Just a car. No sponge. No bucket. No child on her knees. The drawing was the correction of the day. The correction was, in Coda's world, everyone eats on the porch. The garage is for cars, not for children, not for the help. The drawing is on my refrigerator, held by a magnet shaped like a hammer. The hammer is the trade. The trade is the building. The building built a garage where a grandfather humiliated a granddaughter. And the humiliation ended when the builder returned to the building at 7 a.m. with a folding chair and a manila folder, and the patience of a man who builds things that hold under pressure. The garage is still there. The lean is still there. The folder is still on the workbench. And the drawing on the refrigerator shows a porch where everyone eats. No garage. No sponge. No help. Just a porch and 5 plates and a girl who is not on her knees. The girl is at the table. And the table is on the porch. And the porch is enough. Welcome back to Family Secret Tales. If this story reminded you that the person who builds the garage decides what happens in it, and that a 10-year-old girl is not the help, but is the builder's daughter, and the builder's daughter eats on the porch with everyone else, share it tonight. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me, has your family ever treated your child as the servant at a gathering you built or funded? I will see you in the next one.